Hey guys, it's Brandon Miniman from Pocketnow.com, and this is the software tour of the LG Incite, now on the at&t network. Now there's a lot to cover on the Incite in terms of software, so I'm going to stick to just the interesting things, and I'm going to have everything thoroughly in detail coming up in the full review on Pocketnow.com very soon. Okay, so here we are. Now the way that you turn on the phone is by pressing the unlock button on the side of the device, and then you press unlock here and unlock here. Now every time you press the screen on the LG Incite, you get a little bit of a buzz vibration, some haptic feedback. And I think that the haptic feedback is useful, but just when you're using the keyboard. I think it's kind of a waste of battery life throughout the operating system, but you may feel differently. It's really a matter of personal preference. Right now I have it turned on, so you actually may hear it vibrate every time I tap the screen. So this is the standard new LG Today screen, and I like it a lot because what it has is a clock on the top, and then it has a link to weather, and we can tap on the little cloud and get a forecast here. And we also have an icon bar on the bottom. And what's pretty cool is that right in the center is the standard Today screen stuff that you can turn on and off selectively. So right now I have no unread messages, my calendar appointments, no missed calls right there. And I can also minimize all this junk, say it's the weekend and I really don't care if I have an email or something like that. I can just press this up arrow and everything goes away. Okay, now let's cover these icons along the bottom. If we do the one on the left, we go to the phone application. It's a quick way to get to that one. To the right of that is contacts. To the right of that is email. To the right of that is an application launcher that you can customize. So if there are certain applications that you launch all the time, you can press on the plus button here, and it will give you all the applications that you have on your device after you press register. And so we can choose one from there. Now the next button is another launcher that is more categorized. So we have one by phone, one by media, one by kind of productivity, so it shows you your calculator, stopwatch, office mobile. There's one for settings, and then pressing on the home button will take you back to the main home screen. Now the LG Incite has an accelerometer built in with pretty fast screen rotation. So let me show you how fast that works. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can get an idea. If I turn it this way, it'll rotate, and the other way. And to give you an idea of how fast this is, let me bring out the Omnia, which also has screen rotation, and you can kind of get a feel for how fast the Incite is. So here we are on the same screen, and let's rotate both devices. So the Incite's actually faster than the Omnia in the screen rotation. I don't know if that's because of this the animation that the Omnia uses, or just because the Incite has actually a pretty fast refresh on the screen rotation. But that's good to see. Okay, so before I talk about the programs, I want to talk about input, because the Incite doesn't have a keyboard, so on-screen keyboards are really, really important so that you can type text messages fast and email. So I'm going to open up Word Mobile so that I can show you the on-screen keyboard options. And by the way, pretty much everything throughout the operating system here is finger-friendly, so there's flick scrolling. The screen is sensitive enough where I don't need to use a stylus, which is good because if you remember in the other videos, you need to carry this thing around on your phone if you want to use a stylus, which is pretty annoying. Anyway, so here's one of the on-screen keyboards. It's a SureType style keyboard, and every time you type a letter, you get a little bit of vibration feedback. Now you can turn on T9 text entry if you press function and then this button right here so that we can type quicker. And of course it's kind of awkward to type while shooting this video, but let me try to demonstrate how fast you can go. Trying to type the quick brown fox. Well, you get the point. But there's actually another on-screen keyboard which is really good, and it only shows up when you're in landscape. Let me show you that. Here is the full screen keyboard. It's a really, really good keyboard. Huge letters, and you get the vibration feedback, so it feels like you're typing on a real keyboard. One of the problems is that it takes up such a large amount of the screen. So over here, if you press this down arrow, the bottom bar disappears, so you get a little bit extra screen space, but not that much. This is one of my biggest complaints with the Incite, is that this on-screen keyboard, though it is pretty good, takes up a tremendous amount of the screen, and oftentimes it's kind of debilitating in trying to use the application that you're typing into. Okay, here we are back in programs. Let's take a look at what we get. Let's start off with apps here. And apps just takes you to some Java-based trialware, so there's nothing really interesting here. Unfortunately, at&t really likes to load their Windows mobile phones with Java-based trialware. We saw it on the at&t Epics also. We can go into games, and we have the standard games, but again, more Java-based trialware. Going down the list, we have messaging, we have tools. Let's go into there. And then we have some things. We have the camera application, GPS utility, file explorer. This comes with remote desktop, which is pretty cool. A full version of Sprite Backup, which is one of the best backup programs out there. Very good. Let's look at the browser. This is really important. This device comes with Netfront browser, which is kind of an older browser that is, as far as I remember, based off of Pocket Internet Explorer. And it's different than Opera Mobile 9.5 in that it doesn't let you zoom out all the way to see the page, double tap to go closer. So let me give you an idea of how Netfront works. I'm going to go to Pocketnow.com, and right now we are over a 3G connection. Okay, and here we are. Netfront has finished loading Pocketnow.com, and I'm going to flip it over to landscape so we can get a kind of a wider view of the screen. And there it goes. And we have to wait for a minute for it to reorient itself. I see up here in the little guide, it doesn't show the site as being vertical. Okay, there we go. And now we can flick your finger around, and it's being a little bit slow right now. This is why I really don't like Netfront that much. Here it goes. Now it's rendered. And you can kind of slide around the web page as if it were a piece of paper, but zooming around isn't as intuitive as it is on Opera Mobile. Double tapping doesn't do anything. It's really hard to see the content that you want. Although this guide on the right side is helpful to see where you are in the whole page. I think you're much better off just downloading Opera Mobile 9.5 if you get this phone, because Netfront really isn't up to the task of good HTML browsing. Okay, let's move down the list. We have cellular video, internet sharings. Let's see how the flick scrolling works. It works pretty well. We've got MediaNet, pictures and video, Task Manager. Oh, I wanted to show you something on the Today screen. In the upper right corner, there's a direct link to the Windows Mobile 6.1 Task Manager. And here it is. On HTC devices, that would actually be a task manager that allows you to end the program selectively. So it's kind of another step to have to go into here. And if you want to end active sync, you do end task, and it goes away. Okay, so that's pretty much it for programs. Let's go into settings and see what we have there. Okay, let's go into buttons and see what buttons we can customize. And there's only really two buttons. We can customize the camera button and the voice command button. Fortunately, this device has a Microsoft voice command, so you can talk to it without having to train it with various voice tags. You can say, call Bob, or what time is it, or what is my next appointment, and it'll tell you that information. Here's another one for clock style and weather, and this dictates how the clock looks on the Today screen. If you remember, I'll go back there and show you. You have a choice of clocks, and this is what it looks like. We can change to a digital clock 1 or 2. We can have an analog clock. We can also change the weather here. You saw the weather being displayed. We can specify our city so that it shows us the weather for our area. Okay, let's go over to System here and take a look at how much memory we have. Unfortunately, the Incite doesn't have that much program memory. We only have 78 megabytes available for program memory compared to about 200 or in the upper 100s on the new HTC devices that are coming out and that are out right now. So that just may mean that you may be a little bit limited in how much you can multitask. And to kind of fix that, LG has added this little LG button application which will let you close programs completely by pressing the OK or the X button in the upper right corner, because of course Windows Mobile by default doesn't let you do that. It hibernates the program, keeps it in program memory, so you can have it close the program from here. Let's go down the list. We have Video Share, which we still haven't been able to test yet because I don't think many people have Video Share. It's an extra price, and because of it, a lot of people aren't using it. And finally, let's go over into connections, and this device does have Wi-Fi, which is great, so you can use 3G or Wi-Fi if you don't want to pay for a data plan. And that's pretty much it for settings. Now let me show you the phone application, which you can access by pressing the green phone icon there, or you can get to it by pressing this phone button there, and listen to how it sounds when you dial. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of musical when you dial. It's really interesting. And of course, if you want to dial from this screen, you want to dial Bob, you would do B-O-B, and I don't have any Bobs listed here, so you can quickly dial phone numbers just like you can in any Windows mobile phone of this type. So I think LG was successful at building a good mid-level Windows mobile phone. And I say mid-level because it has everything in terms of radios and features that a higher level Windows mobile phone has. It has a proximity sensor, HSDPA, FM radio, Wi-Fi, a light sensor, everything like that. But at the same time, the screen is grainy, it's not high resolution, the screen could be bigger, it doesn't fill up the entire front of the device, the web browser's not that great, the build quality is questionable. So it's a pretty good device. We're going to have a full conclusion on the LG Incite coming up in the full review on Pocketnow.com with battery life tests, benchmarks, and everything like that. So check back for that soon, but that's it for now.